project or a neighboring property owner or someone else. So we'll start with someone that I know, Matt Lashide from the planning department. Welcome, Matt. Matt, you might need to drop your mic down there. And then we also have Bauer, Jay Bauer. Is that Joe Bauer?
Joe Bauer, the homeowner.
Okay, great. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you.
And Francesca?
Yep, Francesca from Michelson Homes, the designer and contractor.
Okay, and is it Francesca Michelson?
Oh, I'm sorry, Francesca Pageon from Michelson Homes.
Gotcha. Could you spell the last name for me?
Padjen.
Okay, great. Welcome. All right, on the applicant owner side, are we expecting anyone else to join us here today before we get started?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, I don't think so, David.
Okay, great. So I need to read through our hearing script. This is just going to cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll begin. So this is the March 5th, 2025 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. The case before us today is case number ZH20250009. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any other parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any other party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. So during that portion, I'll give both Mr. Bauer and Ms. Pageant an opportunity to tell me about the application and the proposal, any background they think is important, the relief that they're requesting, and why they think that relief is appropriate and should be granted. You all can orient that presentation however you would like. One of you can speak, both of you can speak. It's really up to you. If there were anyone here from the public, they would have an opportunity to speak after the applicant had presented its case. I'll hear from the planning department and Mr. Lashide to provide any testimony in addition to his staff report. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond to that testimony offered in opposition, and then finally make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. Last thing I need to do here is just swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, the zoning code requires that I swear you in. So if that's you, if you could raise your right hand now, I need you to answer out loud. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. All right, who's going to be taking the lead for us here on the applicant's presentation?
I can start if that's okay with you, Joe.
Sure. Floor is yours.
As you can see in the pictures, this home on Chardonnay Ridge has an existing uncovered deck structure in back. The property is unique in that it has 2 front yards. Chardonnay Ridge being the true front with the front door. Every other house on the street follows that same pattern. But because the rear yard of the property to the north abuts Stanley, that's considered a front yard in terms of setbacks. We would like the proposed project is a covered porch to replace the existing deck that's small in size, in disrepair, needs some structural upgrades as well as just enlarging to make a little more livable. And if the Stanley side of the home was considered a rear yard, the proposed project would meet the rear yard setback. It is a front yard, and it actually would meet the traditional 30-foot front yard setback as well. However, with the front yard modification requirement, the front yard setback on Stanley is required to be an average of adjacent property owners. So that number comes out to be 45 feet. So we are asking for an 8-foot special exception to allow this covered porch to extend 8 feet into that 45-foot front yard setback to create a porch in what is perceived to be the rear yard. The 8-foot, that creates a 16-foot deep covered porch structure, which is actually a great number in terms of constructability and materials, and also will give the use that the Bowers are seeking and just make the area a little more user-friendly.
Okay, great.
And the one thing I would add is the deck does need to be replaced, and it is starting to kind of deteriorate a little bit. So we're going to need to make changes. And this is my wife and I. We've been here for a couple years, and this is our dream house. Right? We plan on being here for the next 30 to 40 years. And we came from a house where we had a covered deck, and we enjoy spending time outside. And with a covered deck, we're gonna be able to use it a lot more. And just kind of expanding that footprint a little bit is going to help with that aspect as well.
Sure. Okay. I don't think I have any other, I don't think I have any questions, about the project right now. I'm gonna unless there's anything else you wanted to provide up front here, I'm gonna let Matt, provide some testimony. Matt, anything?
I think Francesca outlined it really well. The property would be reviewed as having 2 front yards, and typically the zoning code requires that your front yard setback be in line with other houses on the street. Reasonable enough regulation, but this property is just unique in that there's 2 front yards and the functional rear of the house. It's wooded. There's a steep change in topography. It wouldn't look like a front yard. You can't even see it from the street. And as outlined by the applicant, it would comply with the rear yard setback or the front yard setback if not for this specific regulation, which is really only for the front facade of homes to line up with other houses on the street, which just doesn't make sense for this property. So I think it's a classic case of why we have a variance process, and staff recommends approval.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate your work on the staff report and your testimony here today. I'm going to turn it back over to Ms. Pageant and Mr. Bauer to make any remarks in closing or otherwise before we adjourn.
I don't have anything else.
Okay. On either, David. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you, guys. I think we'll leave it at that. I have had a chance to review the application materials and the staff report. Based on that and based on the testimony here today, I agree with Matt's assessment and with Ms. Pageant's assessment that it would be impractical to strictly enforce the zoning code to this particular application. And so based on that, I'm going to approve the request for relief. I need to formalize that approval in a written decision. I mentioned at the beginning that typically takes about 2 weeks. I'll do everything I can to get that out to you as quickly as possible. As soon as I finish that decision, I'll put it into a PDF. I'll email it to everybody who's in the hearing here today. You all have a copy of it really just moments after it's complete. Matt will also be on that email. And when he has that, he can approve the permitting on his end and you'll take the next steps.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Sure, absolutely.
Appreciate
Okay.
you guys.
Good luck with the project, everyone. Have a wonderful day and we're adjourned.